all sorts of other legal problems too. They include probes into his New York businesses to various sex abuse scandals. Well, let's speak now live to Joseph Kotrie-Monson. He's in Manchester, a criminal defence lawyer at Mary Monson Solicitors. Thank you for being with us. There's a lot for us to get through, and I want to pick up on that final point, because this set of allegations is not the only case that Donald Trump is facing. But talk to me about how significant, how potentially significant this one could be.
Well, I think each of the three major criminal legal battles in Donald Trump's current roster, I think is the phrase they'd use in America, are dangerous because they are potentially jury trials. He cannot be saved by congressional rules relating to impeachment on certain number of majorities. It's not a partisan jury, although, of course, it's in respect of this latest case, it is a Miami jury, it's a Florida jury. That means that it's, I suppose, statistically a little bit more likely to be right-leaning, but only marginally. But there are these three cases, aren't they? And for each of them, he may face a jury. The Stormy Daniels hush money, he's already appeared in court for that. And wasn't that a fiasco, firing his lawyers at the last minute, bringing in new lawyers? Typical Donald Trump stuff, I suppose. There's the ongoing election meddling investigation. We shouldn't forget about that. It's by a special prosecutor into trying to fiddle, allegedly trying to fiddle or pressure election officials to say that counts were wrong, etc. But this latest case, Ben, is the most serious in my view for two fundamental reasons. The evidence already disclosed, firstly, seems substantial, and the charges themselves, as you say, are very serious. Evidence. Well, we haven't seen that indictment yet. We know of 7 counts, but not even Trump's attorney has yet seen that indictment. But even he, and even he won't see that till next week. But we know that there are these charges that can carry, in the case of obstruction, up to 20 years, although it's unlikely we'll get that far. As far as the evidence is concerned, well, there are two probably kind of concerning aspects for Trump's legal team. Documents have been seized from Mar-a-Lago, which are supposedly the classified documents. A court has not tested whether those were, and a court has not tested, as a trial will test, whether he knew or ought to have known that he had those documents, which is the legal test. But disturbingly, there is also apparently, again, not yet tested, audio evidence of Trump admitting at least part of the substance of that charge.
Yes, that will all come out, we assume, in the trial, and it will be fascinating to hear what evidence they may have been able to gather. Talk to me about the time frame, if you will, Joseph, because as we've talked about, potentially running for president, he's the front runner at the moment in the Republican race. It's a pretty crowded race, isn't it? But the time frame for this suggests that we may end up getting a verdict right bang in the middle of that election campaign in 2024.
Yeah. And if we look at the precedents for this, first of all, this is the type of case that from indictment to trial might last 2 years. But in these circumstances, it would be expedited, usually because of the public interest. That said, Trump and his lawyers will need time to consider these thousands and thousands of documents and prepare their case. And I don't think much allowance would or should be made for his electoral ambition commitments in the meantime. So a likely timetable of, let's say, this time next year, completely not out of the question. That's the type of timetable that could be a major interference, a major fly in the run-up to the election. Because Trump, I'm no political analyst, you'll need somebody else, Ben, on this program for that. But he's not just a favourite. He is the absolute favourite to be running that election on behalf of the Republican Party.
Joseph, good to talk to you, because it's important to get that legal perspective. There are plenty of political pundits, as you said, who are giving us their view on what it could mean for that race, but it's good to have that legal insight as well. Thank you, Joseph Kotrie-Monson there, joining us live from Manchester. We will start and stay in Manchester, actually, because we're going to turn to football.